The New York Times has revealed that Georgetown University was an active participant in the slave trade, selling upwards of 272 slaves from their Maryland-run plantation in an effort to support the then struggling university in 1838. Now professors, students, and alumni are wanting to figure out what happened to these 272 men and women, and what stance will the university take moving forward. Georgetown University is not the only high-profile university that owns slaves. You know, it's said that Harvard, Columbia, Brown University, University of Virginia, all of them, you know, allegedly own slaves. However, this incident that happened at Georgetown was just one of the largest transactions that happened during this time, according to historians, which is why it's gotten so much attention.
Right, exactly. Well, we've also seen recently that Harvard Law, they acknowledged the fact that their crest was, you know, had racist roots. With there was wheat on the crest, and they've acknowledged that. I guess, I mean, unfortunately, we can't really say that we're terribly surprised, right? You know, when the American economy was largely supported by plantations and slave labor for so long, it's not terribly surprising that some of these big universities were. I guess the biggest thing is, yes, of course, trying to answer the question, what happened to these people, but then also, where do you go from here once you find that acknowledgement? To me, there's never going to be enough of an atonement for slavery, right? So it's like it kind of puts the universities in a strange position of how do we acknowledge this, you know?
So back in August, to this exact point, back in August, the university put together a working group comprised of alums and faculty members and students in response to protests that students were doing on campus. And the working group is essentially answering that question. What do we do? Do we offer a formal apology? Does the university resurrect a memorial on campus to pay tribute to these slaves? Is there a scholarship that's disseminated to descendants?
Yeah.
So the working group is really looking at that at that conversation, you know. And also, though, the sale of these slaves in American dollars, in today's dollars, would be $3.3 million.
That's crazy.
That's the equivalency in today's American dollar.
Absolutely. I mean, I think going to your previous point, it seems that any stance that the university took or anything that they would do would mostly or largely just be symbolic, right? I mean, perhaps in the instance of a scholarship that could help and that could actually in some ways sort of pay it forward, but I think anything else, whether it be a statue or even just acknowledging it, it is more symbolic, but sometimes that's even more valuable, just sort of this cathartic acknowledgement of guilt, you know?
And one of the other things that they did in November, two of the presidents, the former presidents who were Jesuit priests who were involved in the sale, they had buildings named after them on campus, and so their names were removed or said to have or going to be removed from those buildings on campus. And then another neat thing that happened was that there was an alum who started a nonprofit, and he raised an estimated $10,000. He hired somewhere around 8 genealogists to do research to find these people, and to this date they have been able to make contact with almost 200 of the descendants of these 272 men and women.
Well, at least they were able to try to seek out this or find some sort of order to the crazy chaos of this, right?
And I think, you know, it is. What do they do? What is the most appropriate thing? What is the most empathic and sensitive thing that they do? Hopefully this work group will be a great resource for the university and will make a recommendation for them moving forward. You know, I mean, there's a lot to learn from our shared human experience. Good for Georgetown. Better late than never.